Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We will chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We will chant from verses 11 to 15 of chapter 3. Devan bhavayatanena,
Devan bhavayatanena,
te deva bhavayantu vaha,
te deva bhavayantu vaha,
parasparam bhavayantaha,
parasparam bhavayantaha,
Shreyah paramavapsyatha,
Shreyah paramavapsyatha,
Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha,
Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha,
dasyante yajna bhavitaha,
dasyante yajna bhavitaha,
taidattana pradayebhyaha,
तैर्दत्तान प्रदायैभ्यः
yo bhunkte stena eva saha,
यो भुङ्क्तेस्तेन एव सः
yajnashishtashinah santaha,
यज्ञशिष्टाशिनः सन्तः
muchyante sarvakilbishaihi,
मुच्यन्ते सर्वकिल्बिषैः
bhunjate te tvagam papaha,
भुञ्जते ते त्वगं पापाः
ye pachantyatmakaranat,
ये पचन्त्यात्मकारणात्
annad bhavanti bhutani,
अन्नाद्भवन्ति भूतानि
parjanyadanna sambhavaha,
पर्जन्यादन्नसम्भवः
यज्ञाद् भवति पर्जन्यः,
यज्ञाद्भवति पर्जन्यः
Yajñah karma samudbhavah.
Yajñah karma samudbhavah.
Karma brahmodbhavam viddhi.
Karma brahmodbhavam viddhi.
Brahmakshara samudbhavam.
Brahmakshara samudbhavam.
Tasmat sarvagatam brahma.
Tasmat sarvagatam brahma.
Nityam yajñe pratishtitam.
Nityam yajñe pratishtitam.
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So we are seeing the deeper messages of verse 12 of chapter 3, wherein he says, Ishtan bhogan hi vo devaha dasyante yajna bhavitaha. So nourished by sacrifice, the gods will give you the desired enjoyments. So last week I was explaining to you how a yogi combines these two qualities of being very methodic and logical on one hand, and at the same time acting in a very spontaneous way. That combination is the key. Many questions have come related to that. Some people have asked, how do we remove the impulsive nature? That is, on one hand you have a methodic, logical approach. On the other hand, you have spontaneity. Now, I also said that spontaneity should not be confused with impulsiveness. And similarly, a methodic, logical approach should not be confused with an endless analysis. Some people go on analyzing without any purpose, like a machine, So, based on that, a lot of questions have come, wherein some people have asked, how do we overcome impulsiveness? Some people have asked, how do we overcome this mechanical analysis? And then how do we combine these two? So different doubts have been raised. So I'll just give you a few tips related to that, and then we'll continue with this line of thought. See, first of all, you should understand and appreciate the two qualities as separate individual qualities. That is, being logical, methodical is one quality, and then being spontaneous is another quality. When you understand them as two independent things, then while practicing you can combine these two. So the weakness when it comes to being logical and methodic is mechanical analysis, where a person keeps on analyzing but never comes to a conclusion. See, first you should understand the difference between logical, methodic thinking, which we are using in a positive way, and mechanical analysis. What is the fundamental difference? When a person analyzes, that is when he collects the various data and analyzes and comes to a conclusion in a timely way and acts on it, that is called a logical methodic approach. All these factors are very important. Number one, collection of data. Sufficient data. You can never have 100% data in any situation. Sufficient, that is, the data should be sufficient enough for you to arrive at a solution. So number one is collection of data. Number two is the analysis part. And then number three is coming to a conclusion in a timely way. As the saying goes, no, justice delayed is justice denied. In the legal terms, they say that, no. A person may deliver justice, but it has to be timely. Justice delayed is justice denied. So whatever decisions you take have to be defined by certain time frames which are required to fulfill your obligations in life. If the time frame is taken away, you will just go on analyzing and you may even come to the right conclusion, but it may not be timely. So all these factors, collection of sufficient data, analysis, coming to a conclusion within a certain time frame, and then acting on it. When you have all these 5 aspects, we can say you are following a methodic, logical approach. And wherever required, you may take guidance. In spite of all the sufficient data and your analysis, you may not have that clarity to be able to see through a few things. There you may consult an expert in that field. So all these go unsaid. So this is what we mean by a methodic approach when we are talking about it in a positive way. We can see that in the Bhagavad Gita, because there is a beautiful logical approach. Sufficient data has been given to us, and there is a methodicity about it. The analysis is so perfect. And when we do that analysis, we can come to the right conclusions in life. And if we apply it in our life situations in a timely way, then we are having this methodic approach, orderly approach. Now, what is the difference between this and a meaningless analysis? In each of these aspects, if you get involved, it will actually delay the process of coming to a solution or conclusion and acting on it, which is a solution. For example, if you go on collecting data, there is no end to it. That's why I said sufficient data, sufficient enough to be able to act in that particular situation. Some people just focus on collecting data all the time. They don't come to any conclusion. Such people cannot act. Now, after you get a certain amount of data, when you keep analyzing, that analysis should be in order to come to a conclusion. Some people just keep analyzing for the sake of analysis. These are the people, they will talk from this side and from that side endlessly. Supposing you ask them, it could be a very simple thing. Shall we go to the beach or shall we go to the movie today? They will say, if we go to the beach, the climate is like this. They will not come to any conclusion. If we go to the movies, this is. Then if you say, okay, shall we go to the movie? No, the beach. If we say beach, they will say movie. So they will go on analyzing both sides of it. They are seeing the pros and cons of both sides to it. But the weakness there is that they don't want to come to a conclusion. That is what we mean by a meaningless analysis. In the management jargon, they call it as analysis paralysis and all this. Any effort which is not solution oriented has no meaning. Why do you put in any effort? In order to come to a certain conclusion, in order to arrive at a particular solution. If that is not done, then what is the use of all the efforts? There is no direction to that analysis. I am only explaining these things in a little more deeper way so that you get a very clear understanding of what these aspects are, because as sadhaks you need to incorporate both these aspects into your life, the methodic approach and the spontaneity. So if you go on analyzing in life without any aim or purpose, and if that analysis is not allowing you to come to a firm conclusion, you will only end up getting more confused and you will confuse others also. See, in many relationships I've seen, for example, between a husband and wife, one person is very methodic, the other person does meaningless analysis. So this person comes to a conclusion quickly and says, let's do this. The other person goes on analyzing. And then this person becomes very impatient. What for are we discussing this? Let's get on with action. Now, what this other person thinks is, oh, why are you being so impatient? They are not being impatient. They are only being practical. Because you will just be going around in circles. So, a system of analysis which keeps taking you around circles without coming to a proper conclusion, that is what we call as meaningless analysis. It's like a disease. It is a weakness of the intellect, disease of the intellect, we can say. When the same thing is given a proper direction and it is used to come to a definite conclusion in a timely way, then that uplifts you, that adds value to your life. So if at all you are analyzing, you need to just check whether you are fulfilling all these conditions. Am I first spending some time in collecting enough data? Without sufficient data, if you do the analysis, you will come to wrong conclusions. But if you go on collecting data also, you will never have the time to analyze. So there is a balance which you need to fix there. It is only by practice you can perfect these things. Don't ask me, sir, can you give the exact amount of data which we need to collect and all that. That will vary from situation to situation. Similarly, when you are analyzing, where is it leading you to? Is it confusing you more or is it giving you more clarity? Are you moving closer to a solution? This is what you need to see. And are you doing it in a timely way? Because every situation requires you to act in a timely way. For example, your child is going through some issues, let us say. Your child is in a particular phase of life, let's say teenage. Now it is at that time where, supposing the child approaches you for help, now you go on analyzing, and after the child passes teenage, you give the same child a solution. It is of no use. Many people do that. So, first of all, understand what we mean by a methodic approach. These 5 factors or these 5 criteria need to be fulfilled. Okay, this is on one hand. I'll tell you how to combine spontaneity and this later, but first, independently you understand the positive side of it which we are discussing, and also the negative side of it when not practiced properly. Similarly, when we see on the other side, there is spontaneity. Spontaneity is nothing but instant discrimination. See, here I am using the word discrimination to mean coming to a conclusion. There are two ways of coming to a conclusion. So this discrimination here, in this context, how we are using it is discrimination in the sense of what is correct and what is wrong, what is beneficial and what is not beneficial. So there are two ways of coming to that conclusion. One is through logic, the other is through emotions. For example, when a newborn baby cries, a mother is able to spontaneously feel and understand. Intuitively, a mother is able to understand why the newborn baby is crying. I have seen it actually. Some mothers, when the baby cries, they know whether the baby is crying for food, that is, do they need to feed the baby, or whether the baby is crying for some other reason, whether the baby just needs a hug at that time. Sometimes a baby may cry because of some insecurity. The mother is able to spontaneously feel that. Now, if you use a methodic approach there, okay, now the baby is crying. Why is the baby crying? Now you take a paper and pen and you analyze. Now if you do all that, then it will not work there. You will have to spontaneously feel and understand and come to a conclusion. This is another skill, another a talent. Some people will have it naturally, some people will have to develop it. Just as a methodic approach is a beautiful talent, a skill, the spontaneity is also a beautiful skill. The culmination of spontaneity is intuition. Intuitively, you would be able to come to the same conclusion which can be arrived at through logic. See, the beauty of this is whether a person approaches it methodically or spontaneously, the conclusion will be one and the same. That cannot change. If that changes, then the truth itself is changing. For example, if a child is crying, the child is crying only for one reason. Now, it is how you understand it that matters. So, spontaneity is not against logic. The approach may be different, but the end result is one and the same. So, there is the emotion backing, there is the inspiration there. There is that liveliness. Actually, this is how the two parts of Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga evolved. If you take spirituality, the two parts of Jnana Yoga and Bhakti Yoga, how did they evolve? It is based on these two skills only. When you use your logic, your methodic approach and try to move towards God, try to understand God, that is called Jnana Yoga. I'm consciously using the word try to understand because you can never understand God fully. God has to be experienced, but this will take you closer. If you use your emotions in order to feel and understand God, if you try to feel God, again I'm using the word try because you can never feel God fully. Both feelings and logic, that is logical thinking, both are limited only. But when you try to use that tool, that is called Bhakti Yoga. So jnana and bhakti are looking different, but their end goal is one and the same. A person who has reached the culmination of jnana will automatically become a bhakta also. A bhakta who has reached the end point of bhakti will automatically become a jnani. A true jnani and a true bhakta will not fight against each other. There are many people who fight against each other, They say jnana yoga superior, bhakti yoga superior. These things actually make no sense. So this is what is spontaneity. Now, what is the negative part of it? That is when you slip, what can happen? That is what I explained last time, impulsiveness. Impulsiveness means the feeling has no direction. That feeling has no understanding or logic backing it. It is just a kind of a shot in the dark. An impulsive person will be highly inconsistent. 1 second he will do one thing, next second he may do something else. A spontaneous person will be very consistent. Every time you take a spontaneous person to one situation, assuming let's say there is one particular situation which requires a solution. You take a spontaneous person there 10 times. All the 10 times you will come to the same conclusion. Whereas if you take an impulsive person there 10 times, he will come to 10 different conclusions. Why? Because there is no direction at all. An impulsive person is not really focused on the issue. He is just simply saying whatever comes to his mind without any reference to what is happening outside. Whereas a spontaneous person is not like that. The response of a spontaneous person in any given situation will be very apt. That is the beauty. So these are the two facets. One is being methodic and logical, the other is being spontaneous. The negative sides of that, if you practice it wrongly, meaningless analysis or analysis paralysis as they call it in the management jargon, or impulsiveness. These are the weaknesses. So now if you find that you're having a lot of impulsiveness in your behavior, how can you solve that? It is by starting to develop a methodic approach. You cannot straight away become spontaneous, because in the name of spontaneity you will again be impulsive only. So you will have to add the other element, which is nothing but pausing, judging and then acting. Pause, you have to pause, you have to assess and then act. That practice, that will be your sadhana. Over a period of time you will overcome the impulsiveness. And then when this process becomes very fast, as you become a master, you will become very fast in your observation, in your capacity to come to the right conclusions and all that. Then you will automatically become spontaneous also. Similarly, if you have this weakness of meaningless analysis, then what should you do? You should just forcefully start concluding spontaneously. That conclusion may be right or wrong. So it is better to practice it in situations which don't have very big consequences initially, just to develop your skills, So you tell yourself, no, this is a time I'm going to come to a conclusion, I'm going to decide and act. Should I do this or should I not do? Should I do this or should I not? You fix a time. Another 5 minutes, I'm going to decide and act. The end of 5 minutes, decide anything which comes to your mind and act. It may be right or wrong, it does not matter. But you will have to develop that habit of coming to a conclusion and acting on it. Then over a period of time, that will get refined more and more and more, and the combination of being logical and spontaneous will automatically come to you. This is the way you need to practice these two things. So even in spirituality, if your approach is highly intellectual but no bhakti, it is a very dry approach. So you need to add on this element. Now, one person actually asked me this. He had this weakness of going on analyzing without coming to a conclusion. So he said, sir, when it comes to God, now I am using the intellect, I am analyzing whether God is there or not. Now, without coming to a conclusion that God is there or not, how can I generate emotions? So first let me come to that conclusion. Then I will practice Bhakti Yoga. It will never happen. So you should practice that faith along with your analysis. That is why it is said in spirituality that you should feel what you understand and you should understand what you feel. That combination gives you success. Here we are talking about spirituality. The same thing can be applied in your worldly field also. Whatever area of life you require a solution, you can apply these principles and see. It'll really help you. Similarly, some people have only, practice only Bhakti Yoga. There is absolutely no understanding at all. That is also very dangerous because that will lead to a kind of an imbalance of one's personality. Because when your emotions go out of your control, you will start becoming eccentric. See, when the intellect goes out of control, the person will become like a machine. When the emotions go out of control, that person will start becoming eccentric. Because impulsiveness taken to an extreme point is nothing but becoming eccentric. It's a very dangerous thing. You will lose complete control over yourself. That also should not happen. So if you go to either of these two extremes, you will move away from the middle path. What is a middle path? He's saying, no, Ishtan Bhogan. I have covered that in detail in the previous sessions. So after that only I am giving you these two extremes. Then you will be able to easily understand. So whenever you are slipping to this extreme, that is analysis without any emotion, now pull yourself to the other side. Similarly, when you are going to this extreme where emotions are going totally out of control, now pause, analyze, bring yourself to the center. That is how you need to keep balancing yourself. The mind will want to move either this side or that side. That's how the movement is in spirituality. In spirituality, you can never move straight. You will always move in curves only. And when you are in this part of the curve, you need to balance it by pulling yourself the other side. When you are in the other part of the curve, again you need to pull yourself on this side. So this will give you that balance. A balanced approach is the yogic way. So a yogi will be highly analytical. He'll be able to give you tremendous logic, but at the same time, his emotions will be so subtle. His emotions will be so deep. When a yogi thinks, his thinking will be extremely sharp. When the same yogi feels, his feeling will be so deep. So that is how a yogi experiences life fully, because you use only these two equipments to experience life. No? In life, either you will be logical, methodical, or you will be using your emotions. Now, when can you experience life fully? When you develop both these faculties within you. That is why, when we look at life, you should see both the aspects of life. See, life consists of science, that is one aspect. Life also consists of arts, which is the other aspect. Now, what about spirituality? Spirituality is also, it's basically talking about life. So it has both these aspects, science and arts. Is spirituality a science? Yes. Is spirituality an art? Yes. Both elements are there. Everything which is said by the yogis, can it be scientifically proved? No. Can certain things be proved? Yes. Then what about the remaining? Those things have to be felt. That is where the bhakti yoga comes. The faith comes. The moment we talk of faith, now they think it is illogical. The method may be different, but the conclusion will be one and the same. Certain fundamental things in life which we generally accept, even in mathematics, they assume certain things basically, and then based on that they build a particular logic. So when you approach, let's say the Bhagavad Gita for example, the yogic approach is nothing but combining these two aspects, the methodic approach and the spontaneity. So when you approach it with spontaneity, you will get so inspired. Every word will inspire you. You will be looking forward to these Sunday sessions. And when the methodic approach is adopted, you will gain all the messages and how to apply them in your life. You will start thinking on those lines. That is when you will get the maximum benefit. So this is the middle path. This is what Ishtan Bhogan is all about, the principle of middle path. You are experiencing life fully in its entirety with objectivity. You complete all your experiences and you become one with the infinite. This is the path of yoga. No aspect of life is left out. When they talk about renunciation, they are not talking about renouncing life externally, because you cannot. No one can renounce life fully externally. That's why when someone went to Ramana Maharishi and asked him, "Sir, I want to become a sannyasi. So in order to do that, shall I give up all my possessions? Then will I become a sannyasi?" To which he said, "No. If you want to become a sannyasi, you will have to renounce the possessor, not the possessions." That is what in the Bhagavad Gita Krishna is saying, nirmama, that feeling that I am possessing this, that has to be renounced. Very interesting thought, So I am giving up this, I am giving up this, I am giving up that, I am giving up this. That I is remaining, that ego is only getting boosted. So when you renounce your ego, you may have all that. That is your choice. You may choose to have them, you may not choose to have them. Externally you may have given up something, or you may lead a royal life also externally. But you are a true sannyasi. So sannyas or renunciation shouldn't be judged based on externally giving up or not giving up. It is an internal phenomenon. It is an internal attitude. Have you renounced your ego? Have you renounced your ownership? Have you renounced that mama? That's why he says nirmama, means without that mindness. Nirahankara, without that I. We are in the Karma Yoga chapter, so in the coming verses, he will be giving what are the various things which you need to renounce when you are acting. He never says renounce action. The very Bhagavad Gita is that only. Arjuna wanted to renounce action. Krishna says no, be in action, but there are so many negative factors within you which you need to renounce. Later on, he will be defining who is a yogi, who is a sannyasi. Very interesting. He doesn't talk of any external dress or externally giving up and all that. Actually, in that verse, he starts off by saying, Anashrita karma phalam, karyam karma karotiyah. Means one who does whatever he or she has to do. Karyam karma. But anashrita karma phalam. But renounces the karma phala, the anxiety for the fruit, renounces the fruit while acting. Sasanyasi cha yogi cha. That person is a sannyasi, that person is a yogi. So, these principles which he is giving here, they will make you a yogi, a sannyasi intrinsically. It is only a sannyasi who can incidentally enjoy life. See, these things will seem so contradictory to you because your concept of sannyas is dropping of all enjoyments, right? That is why he is using the word bhoga, ishtan bhogan. It is only when you are detached that you can enjoy things in a calm way. Otherwise, you will only be excited. Excitement is not enjoyment. Excitement is going out of control. So, nourished by sacrifice, the gods will give you the desired enjoyments, ishtan bhogan. Be in the middle path. How can you be in the middle path? That is why I have given you these two tips. By combining these two aspects of being methodic and being spontaneous, you can be in the middle path all the time. A yogi will act according to the situation very fast, but at the same time, he will also be able to think logically and explain things when required. He will not be impulsive. So now that you have learned this, you have to perfect it through your practice. Don't again send me questions and I'm trying, sir, it is not happening. Some people have even put such questions. See, when you learn a principle, now you will have to sit with it and do your tapas. No, you will have to practice. It's a lifetime practice. Just you try once or twice and say, sir, it's not happening. Mean, how will it happen like that? This is the manual of your entire life. And it is only through practice that you can achieve perfection. So don't look for immediate results. When all these things are told to you, please don't misunderstand this. It is not being said that from this moment onwards, immediately there should be a radical change and you should start practicing everything 100%. These principles are being explained to you in a very clear way. But for you to absorb it and practice it, that will take time. It all depends on whether you're applying yourself consistently or not. So don't be so harsh on yourself. Is that clear? I've answered all the questions. That is very important before we move on in this verse, because this combination actually, that is a combination of methodicity and spontaneousness, is a foundation for Karma Yoga, incidentally. Whenever you act, whenever some action emanates from you, now when that action is backed up by impulsiveness or by a meaningless analysis, that action will not be effective. It cannot be Karma Yoga. We will be building on that later on in the coming verses. So that is why I've introduced that principle here, so that as we go along, as we move to the different aspects of Karma Yoga, it will be very easy for you to understand them. So, we also saw this, the gods will give. So that is another sadhana principle which we can derive. Consider everything as that which is given by God. So you first start with good things in your life. At least for that, you can say thanks to the Supreme Reality. Whether you call that Supreme Reality as God or Infinite or by some other name or even nature, whatever way you're relating to that Supreme Reality, does not matter. But something beyond you, some power which is beyond you. See, even some so-called atheists who say, I don't believe in God. They say, but I believe in nature. Then because nature is beyond you, no? It is above you. So you can oblate it to that. You can surrender to nature. It's all one and the same. It will take you to that infinite only. But as a sadhak, it's better not to be stuck with words and be very fanatic about something, because that itself will create a block after a while. So first you start off with good things. Then what is it that you do? Even for so-called negative incidents, you can start doing the sadhana. You can take even the so-called negative incidents as blessings of God. That is a very advanced yogic state. Now, if you are able to practice that, if you come to that level, then it is only a question of time, because see, life will always be giving you either a positive experience or negative experience. In both, if you are getting connected to God, then you will start shedding your karmas very fast. And you will quickly get attuned to that infinite supreme reality. But it takes a lot of tapas and sadhana to get to that state. All the practices, all the principles which are being given to you will be helpful in you getting to that state. So start practicing this gratitude. It's a treatment for the ego. When we talk of Ishtan Bhogan, when good things start happening to you in life, now immediately the ego pops up. So as a treatment to that, it's all God given. It is given by the higher. So God, I've explained it earlier, at one level God means nature, at one level God means the higher force, and then it goes right up to the Supreme God. Supreme God is formless. So whatever be the way you are relating to God, the sadhana can still be practiced. That is the sadhana of humbling yourself, oblating all your achievements to the higher forces of life. That is what it is. Then it will act on your ego, it will work on your ego and slowly remove the ego from your personality. So the gods will give you the desired enjoyments. Now, what is he saying after that? We'll see the second line. Tairdattana pradayaibhya bhunkte yo there is yaha bhunkte stena eva saha. Tairdattana means that which is given by them. Dattan means given. Taihi means by them, in plural. By whom? By the gods. So you have to connect it to the first line. So whatever is given by them is as yaha, whoever it may be, one who enjoys. Bhunkte means one who enjoys whatever is given by them. Apradaya, without offering anything in return, without giving back something in return. Saha means that person. Stena eva is indeed a thief. It's a very powerful line. This line will be continued in the next verse. This is the first approach. Here he is referring to the tamasic approach. What is a rajasic approach and sattvic approach? We'll be seeing in verse number 13. So what he's saying, one who enjoys what is given by them without offering anything in return is indeed a thief. So before we go to this exact meaning of this line, first of all, the basic principle we need to understand. If you remember in the previous verses, we saw that word parasparam bhavayantaha. I think you remember that. Parasparam means mutual benefit. That is an essential aspect of yajna. What is parasparam? Parasparam means give and take. Now, why is he saying you need to balance out the give and take? See, the balancing, the giving and taking in life alone will help you to grow spiritually. Why? Because life itself is designed in that way only. See, how is life designed? There are two opposite forces acting all the time. One is in one direction, the other is in the other direction. That is how life is made. When you are breathing in, you will have to breathe out. You can't go on breathing in. So breathing in is in this direction. You're taking, as it were. Now breathing out is in the opposite direction. You're giving. If you say, no, I'll only give, I will not take, I'll not breathe in at all, then you will die. If you say, I'll only breathe in, I will not give at all, then also you will die. Life cannot sustain itself. So, parasparam is not something new. It is not a totally new principle which he is asking you to practice. Parasparam is a natural law of life. He is asking you to recognize that and then adapt your life to that natural law. This is what they explained in the Puranas, in the form of stories. You have Brahma, who is a god of creation. That is like giving, one force, The opposite of Brahma is Shiva, destruction. So you have creation, you have destruction. That is the parasparam. And when the creation and destruction are in balance, Vishnu comes in. Who is Vishnu? The god of maintenance. So the world is maintained. See how beautifully they have described a very deep concept in a simple story form. When we read the Puranas, we only get caught up with the story part, the incidents and all that. But the deeper meaning is missed out. So they said Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, they rule the whole world. Without them, the world cannot exist. Now some so-called pseudo-intellectuals, they question that. They said, what is this? It is not logical. It is very logical. Just because you don't understand the logic, you can't say something is illogical, no? See, this is a common weakness which people have. If they don't know something, they think that is not true. I don't have a cure for a particular disease. I should say, I don't have. In my system, we are not able to cure it. We can't say the disease is incurable. Some other person may have a cure for that, no? So we always make conclusive statements, that is statements of assertion just based on our limited knowledge and our limited experiences. That is very wrong. So the meaning of Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara, that is very deep. See, I am only giving you one dimension of that. What Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara is from the sadhana point of view, all that, it becomes more and more deep. In some other context, I'll explain that also. But primarily, when you take the external world, you have the force of creation, you have the force of destruction. They are opposite forces. And when they are acting properly, then the world is maintained, which is the force of maintenance, Lord Vishnu. So without these three forces, the world will collapse. This is the meaning of what our great rishis gave. And you see any aspect of life, the creation, destruction, maintenance will be happening. Even if you take our own physical body, new cells are being created. Old cells are being destroyed. In that process, our body is being maintained. Brahma, Shiva, Maheshwara and Vishnu, all three are working in tandem. Whenever you want to create something in life, you will have to destroy something else. You can change that form into another form. If you want to make a piece of, let us say, a beautiful table, now the same table would have existed in the form of wood, some other form. Now you will have to destroy that form to create this new form, table. Now let's say, supposing you burn that table. Now you can say, I have destroyed the table, but you have created ash, which is there. This is an endless process. Morning is born, night is destroyed. Then morning is destroyed, afternoon is born. Afternoon is destroyed, evening is born. Evening is destroyed, night is born. Night is destroyed, again morning is born. It's a continuous chain. In this chain, the day is maintained. The time is maintained. You take seasons also. Summer is destroyed. The next season is born. The rainy season. That season is destroyed. The next season is born. It's a cycle. In that process of creation and destruction, the year is maintained. Even in your own life, your childhood is destroyed, youth is born. Your youth is destroyed, adulthood is born. That's how there is a cycle. In that your life is maintained. You're living your life in this way only. All the time there is creation, destruction and maintenance which is happening. Even if you want to cook some food, tasty food, something will be destroyed. The vegetable, whatever which you're putting, that form will be destroyed. A new form will be created. So if you look at every aspect of life, you will find opposite forces acting. This is what they said, give and take. So when you're breathing in, you're taking. When you're breathing out, you're giving. Parasparam is happening. And what is interesting is, you're taking in oxygen. When you're taking in, you're not directly taking in oxygen, that filtering happens inside you. But when what goes inside is ultimately oxygen. And what you give out is carbon dioxide. But what is beautiful, how nature has been designed beautifully is, there are plants, they take in that carbon dioxide. What is oxygen for you is carbon dioxide for them. That gives them life. So they take in carbon dioxide and they give back oxygen. This is the parasparam, how nature has been designed. So when it was said that parasparam bhavayantaha, now he is not giving a new principle. That principle is already there in life. The problem is you are not recognizing that. So parasparam is the key principle with which life is designed. And when you start understanding that and when you start mastering that principle, then you are entering into the practice of yajna. Because yajna also is nothing but using this principle of parasparam to your advantage and to the other person's advantage. You give and take in such a way that you are also benefited to the maximum extent, the other person is also benefited to the maximum extent. That is parasparam, that is yajna. So in the management jargon, they use this phrase, win-win. Win-win philosophy is very important. I should also win, you should also win. In any deal. If you are buying something from a salesperson, or you are buying a product, let's say from a company. Company also should benefit, you should also benefit. You should get something out of it. This is the utility of that product. Company also should get something, which is the money which you pay. Otherwise, that system will collapse. So some people say, I don't want to take anything. They will not be able to sustain their giving. Because if you want to give, the precondition is you should have taken before. Unless you have something, what can you give? So the whole yajna rests on this principle of parasparam. When you master this principle of parasparam, you have actually mastered yajna. So how do you master this give and take in life? That is what we are going to see from the second line of this verse. And he will be continuing it so beautifully. We will see it thoroughly, because this is something so important in your life, the three approaches. He has so beautifully divided this whole thing into three types, three approaches. One is a reference to tamas, the other reference to rajas, and the third one reference to sattva. Sattvic way of functioning is the best way of functioning. Tamasic way of functioning is the worst way of functioning, which is what we are going to see in this verse. And then rajasic way of functioning is a mediocre way of functioning. So what is he talking about? In the first line he said, nourished by sacrifice, the gods will give you the desired enjoyment. Now in the second line, he says, one who enjoys what is given by them without offering anything in return is indeed a thief. Stena means a thief, a robber. So this is the reference to tamasic people. Who is a tamasic person? Generally, in life, when a person wants to only take, he doesn't have any idea of giving, such a person we can say is highly tamasic. That is extreme selfishness. So I told you, parasparam means giving, taking. So we need to balance both. Now, when a person wants to only take, no giving at all, now such a person will become dangerous to the society, because he or she will go to any extent in order to fulfill the selfish desires. They will not mind even harming others. They may cause physical harm. Some people do what they call as character assassination. They may talk ill of others so that they will gain something out of it. They will go to any extent in order to fulfill their desires, because they have no guilt. When I say they have no guilt, see, in some of the earlier sessions, it was mentioned that you should not feel guilty. There are two ways of not feeling guilty. When you commit a mistake, instead of feeling guilty, it is suggested that you take the corrective action. So you are rising above guilt. But there is also another way. You don't feel guilty and you don't take any corrective action, which means you are not rising above guilt, you are going below guilt. That is a tamasic state. I told you, tamasic people and sattvic people will externally look alike. A person who is meditating and a person who is sleeping, they both will look alike. But one is in tamas, the other is in sattva. So when you rise above guilt, that is sattva. When you go below guilt, you are not even feeling guilty. You are not taking any corrective action. You are continuing to do the mistake without any guilt. That is tamas. So a tamasic person has no guilt in the sense he leads an animalistic life. He is not even coming up to the basic level and dignity of being a human being. Such a person over a period of time will become a liability to society. Now when we analyze a tamasic person, we will take 100% tamasic person. That is a hypothetical case. Nobody can be 100% tamasic or, that's not possible. But just for understanding sake, we will consider the hypothetical case, of a 100% tamasic person, how that person will behave. But after all this, your homework is to find out how much of tamas you have within you. That is the key. So, when we get into the depth of this particular line, you can start doing your homework. And then when we go to the next verse, when we start seeing the rajas and sattva, your homework will become more deep, because you will have all the aspects with respect to parasparam. See, tamas, rajas and sattva are adjectival phrases. They can be applied in any area. In any area you can be tamasic, rajasic or sattvic or a combination. You generally are a combination of all three. The proportion will vary. So in the area of parasparam, what is tamas, what is rajas, what is sattva, we will first study that independently and then we will combine all three. You will gain tremendous clarity about yourself in this. The only caution which I'm giving you is, when we are doing this analysis, you should not get into a kind of you should not develop self-hatred or anything. See, whenever we discuss the negative qualities which need to be removed, there is always a chance of losing your self-confidence. So many people may run away also because they don't have the courage to face themselves. So spirituality is not for people who fear. Spirituality requires courage. A person who is able to see what is happening inside without getting affected by that, that person is truly a brave person. A sadhak is extremely brave. He or she never shies away from the inner negativities. If he locates any negativity, now he'll put in all the effort to convert it into positivity. So that is going to be the aim of all this analysis. I'm putting that word of caution right at the beginning. So fundamentally, a tamasic person is one who merely takes, who does not want to give. He does not have an intention to give anything. So he uses the word stena, is indeed a thief, a robber, he says. So whenever, when we saw the God-given thing, I told you the sadhanas to feel grateful and all, a tamasic person will not have any gratitude. So today we will see one or two dimensions of stena, that is what the implications of stena, and then we will further go into the depth of it next week also, so that you very clearly understand this. So stena means thief or robber. So who is a thief? Whom would we call a thief? A thief is one who does not want to put an effort to earn, but he wants to take something which belongs to somebody else. So a person A, he puts in all the effort and he gets something in life. Now B, another person B who is a thief, he wants to take away that object. That person has put in all the effort and he has got it. This person just simply wants to take it away and go. This is what we call as looking for shortcuts. So stena means a thief, a robber. A thief is one who always looks for shortcuts in life. And in order to achieve that, he will go to any extent. That is why he is called a thief. So you can make a note of it. Whenever you have a tendency of wanting shortcuts without putting in any effort, you want to take away from somebody else, that is called stena. So number one, stena means one who looks for shortcuts. Number two, stena, a thief is one who wants what belongs to others. So even when you are comparing yourself to some other person and you say, when you are feeling jealous, that person has that, I don't have it. It is a miniature form of stena only. It has not yet surfaced to that extent, action level, that's all. But if you see, very, very technically, that is the starting point. Comparing yourself with others and saying, oh, that person has it, I don't have it. That is also a tamasic quality. So when we say thief and all that, you will only think of some famous robber or somebody like that. It's not that. In your life, whenever you get an emotion of jealousy, that is also stena only. The same energy of stena, but in a smaller way. The degree, the intensity is less. So number one, looking for shortcuts. Number two, wanting what belongs to others. And number three, a robber is one who is fundamentally adharmic. Adharmic means unrighteous. That's what I said. He will not hesitate to go to any extent. See, when we say what belongs to others, is it dharma or adharma? You want to steal something from others. You just ask yourself, is it dharmic or adharmic, righteous or unrighteous? Your own conscience will tell you, it is definitely unrighteous. So anybody who exploits others, they are all tamasic. It could be a leader also. A leader who exploits the weaknesses of others. Such a person is a sthena. It's a very strong word which he is using. This is applicable at the personal level, at the family level, society level, country level, at the world level itself. So even at the family level, a tamasic person will not want to contribute, will not want to give anything, but he will want to just take. These are the people who are like leeches. They just want to suck the blood out of others. They don't want to give anything in return. The thought of contributing does not come to them. So that's why he says, one who enjoys what is given by them without offering anything in return, such a person is a sthena. So these three factors. Number one, looking for shortcuts. Number two, wanting what belongs to others. And number three, fundamentally adharmic, unrighteous. So we'll stop with that today. In the next session, I'll give you more dimensions to this. We will go to the specifics. Then you will be able to get a clear picture. So one small homework for you all, that is, with whatever points which have been given here, like I said about give and take. Now I want you to analyze your life. Generally in life, is your giving and taking balanced? In your relationships, give and take, is that balanced? Are you giving, doing whatever you ought to do? Are you taking whatever is required for your maintenance? Maintenance means physical maintenance, financial maintenance, emotional maintenance also. See, when you give love and when you receive love, that maintains you emotionally. So, see, even there can be an imbalance. A person who's too attached, let's say, this is just an imaginary example, a husband is too attached to his wife, then what will happen is, his expectations will be too high. He will expect the wife to always keep giving him. That will lead to an imbalance. He will never give that space to his wife. It can be vice versa. If a wife is attached to a husband, the same thing can happen. So, is the relationship going on in a balanced way? You should analyze this from your end first. Don't get into blaming others. See, the first tendency of the mind is, one who enjoys what is given without offering anything in return is indeed a thief. Immediately you look at others. See, that person, he is not giving. This is the extroverted tendency of the mind. So all these things are being given to you not to judge others, but to get a better understanding of yourself, so that you can go through the process of self-purification. Again, you should not be too harsh on yourself and judge yourself also. This is only to get a deep understanding, to deepen your understanding so that you can purify yourself. Remember that. So take this as a homework. First, the give and take. It's very interesting. In any area, if there is an issue, the cause will be because of an imbalance between the give and take in that area. Supposing a couple are fighting with each other, it will be because the give and take is imbalanced. If you have some problem in your office, in your career, let us say, it is because the give and take, that is the efforts which you are putting in and the rewards which you are getting, there will be an imbalance between that give and take. Whenever there is an imbalance, a problem will surface. So now you go backwards. Choose some one or two areas of your life where there is a problem. See how the give and take there, the parasparam, is imbalanced. Only if you identify that, then the next question, what should I do to set that balance right? That is the next step, no? So this is number one. Number two, also this aspect of wanting to take and not give. That is the being very tamasic. So how is that functioning within you? Very, very casually, without judging yourself, be objective about it and just see the tendencies. Whenever you are jealous about someone, it means that is a starting point of this tamas which he is talking about. Whenever you want something but you don't want to put in the effort to get it, again, that is a starting point of, I feel a little awkward in saying that is a starting point of being a thief, because it's a very harsh word, but that's what he's saying. He is deliberately using that harsh word so that the tamas is knocked off. So that's why I'm putting that caution. Don't be too harsh on yourself and get into that self-criticism. This is not to get into that spirit. It is only for self-purification. So the same energy will be running in you, but not in a big way, in the basic fundamental way. So it is really worthwhile to do that homework to find out those forces. Just bring that awareness. Correction will automatically follow. Okay. In the next session, we will go further. What are all the various ways by which this tamas in a person functions with respect to parasparam? We will see that thoroughly. It will give you a very deep insight into yourself and your life. And we'll not be stopping with that. We'll be seeing the Rajasic approach and also the Sattvic approach. As you know, we're always solution oriented. Just telling all the negatives and leaving it there makes no sense. So there is a solution for everything. So you will have to root out the tamas, give a proper higher direction to Rajas and get established in Sattva. That is our aim. Okay? So now we'll do the Nididhyasana meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper into myself. I am not this physical body. I am not the pranas. I am not these various emotions and thoughts. I am that infinite, supreme reality. From this moment onwards, I choose to maintain a balance between the methodic approach and spontaneity. Everything which I have today in life is a blessing of God, I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So today we saw some very practical but deep principles. I've also given you some homework. So reflect on these points, absorb them, because to the extent you absorb, to that extent you will be able to practice. And when you do these homeworks which are given every now and then, that will help you to master these principles on one hand, and on the other hand, they will also get you more prepared to receive further deeper messages. That is the whole idea. Okay. One more announcement is that at the end of March, we'll be having the Yoga Sankirtan meditation empowerment. That is the energy transference and raising one's level. So this time, the special thing is, for the first time, the empowerment is going to be given for Sri Hanumat Dhyana. So every time you take the empowerment for Yoga Sankirtan, your base level in terms of spiritual growth, in terms of meditativeness, will be pushed up. So the exact details and all that, they will be informing you. They'll be putting the details in the website and also sending you messages. If you have any questions regarding that, you can raise them. I will definitely answer that also. So start doing your sadhana very regularly. Keep to your sadhana on a daily basis, because the energy is going to be so powerful. So this will be a preparation. So in the Nididhyasana meditation also, I'll be preparing you for that Yoga Sankirtan empowerment. Okay? So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next session. Hari Om.